The Chargers need a wide receiver more than maybe any other position right now. I mean, just look at this depth chart. If the season started today, bro, Josh Palmer would be our wide receiver one. And I actually like Josh Palmer not to be our main guy, though. And then Quentin Johnston would be number two. I mean, I'm all about a Quentin Johnston resurgence, but we absolutely need some depth there. Even if we're just going to be running the ball down people's throats, we need to have some wide receivers. We can't enter the season with this wide receiver room the way that it is right now. And I think that the Chargers are going to invest some big assets into that room. And what better way to do that than to draft the best wide receiver prospect to come out in a very long time. And let me explain to you how the Chargers could realistically end up with Marvin Harrison Jr. So make sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy this content, bro. It helps me out so much. And now it all starts with the Vikings, because we have been hearing all offseason long that there are tons of teams that want to trade up for a quarterback this year. And now, after free agency, after this whole QB carousel that's been going on this offseason, the most likely team to do that and the best positioned team to do that is the Minnesota Vikings. They just lost Kirk Cousins in free agency, but they have been spending that money wisely on their defense. They signed big guys like Jonathan Grenard. They restructured Harrison Smith to save $9 million, spent that money on guys like Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, and then this is the biggest one. Jerry Tillery is a Minnesota Viking. Let's see how long that lasts, maybe through training camp if he's lucky. But the Minnesota Vikings also made a deal to get the 23rd overall pick in the first round with the Houston Texans. So now they're set up with 2 first-round picks this year at 11 and 23, and they would absolutely use that as ammunition in order to trade up and get their quarterback of the future. Also, when you look at their offense, they have guys like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. They signed Aaron Jones in free agency, and they have Christian Darrisaw. That's one piece of an offensive line. They do need to get better at O-line, but they have the weapons there for a rookie quarterback to come in and play well. So what quarterback, but really what spot are the Vikings trying to trade up into? Because that is what we as Chargers fans are concerned with. We're at 5th overall, but the rumors right now are that the Vikings want number 4 overall. But I want to suggest to you this. What if the Vikings are trying to get into that top 3 position? Because there actually have been some reports, let me just pull it up here, that the Vikings are trying to get that number 3 overall pick. You can see with New England, and then to a lesser degree, they're trying to get the Arizona Cardinals pick. I think this means that the Vikings are really trying to target Drake Maye. And maybe they have some intel that the Commanders are going to go for Jayden Daniels at number 2 overall. Drake Maye has been connected to the Vikings because Josh McCown is the QB coach there. And look at this picture right here. I mean, they're sitting on the bench, right? And Josh McCown has said he loves Drake Maye. He would also fit very, very well into that Kevin O'Connell offense. So I think their guy is Drake Maye. But as we get closer to the draft, there are more and more reports now that the Patriots, they're not listening to trade offers, and they are set on drafting their quarterback of the future and staying at number 3. And there was another report from Daniel Jeremiah saying that Washington at 2 would be more likely to listen. So if the Vikings really want to get a draft haul going to get to number 2 overall for Drake Maye, they could absolutely do that, but it would cost a lot more. And the Commanders at 2, they might play hardball with the Vikings and want way more than the Vikings are willing to give up. I mean, what if they're asking for like Justin Jefferson and 3 first-round picks? I mean, that would just be absurd, and I don't think the Vikings would want to do that. And so what if instead of taking their guy in Drake Maye, who we obviously know Josh McCown coached in high school, and there's that connection there. They know that we know that they like him, and we also know he would be a great fit in that Kevin O'Connell offense. But you know who else would be a good fit in that offense with Josh McCown? It's J.J. McCarthy. I don't think Jayden Daniels would be a good fit, but the rumors are right now Jayden Daniels looks like he's going to the Patriots, and if Drake Maye is not there, J.J. McCarthy would absolutely be the guy for the Vikings. And I don't think that the Vikings would get all of this draft capital if they didn't think that they could at least go up and get one of these quarterbacks. And it's looking likely that it's going to be J.J. McCarthy because there are also reports that the Commanders, they're set at taking a QB at 2 as well, because they can't roll into the season without a quarterback. I mean, come on, they have to stick and pick. And so basically, I think the decision making right now in Minnesota is, do we want to go all out and get our QB1, which is Drake Maye, and it may really mortgage our future, and we wouldn't be able to utilize that rookie contract as much as we would if we got our second guy in JJ McCarthy, but we didn't give up as much draft capital? Because then JJ McCarthy, maybe the difference between Drake Maye and JJ McCarthy in the Vikings' eyes is not big enough to the difference of what the Commanders pick would get and what the Cardinals pick would be. Do you understand what I'm saying? They may think it's more valuable to just get JJ McCarthy, their QB2, and keep all of their draft assets that they would have to give up if they went up to 2 rather than 4. So let's say they don't trade into the top 3 to take Drake Maye. For whatever reason, they can't do it, or they just decided they'd rather go for JJ McCarthy at 4. Well, who's to say that the Cardinals are actually going to accept that trade offer and want to trade down? Because if you look at the Cardinals wide receiver room, it's maybe even worse than ours, to be honest with you, bro. They have Michael Wilson as wide receiver 1. Oh, okay, that's not terrible, but their wide receiver 2 is Greg Dortch. Do you guys even know who that is? He's not a great wide receiver. He's he's kind of at that level of like Darius Davis. And then they also just traded Rondale Moore. So their wide receiver room consists of Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Zach Pascal, Andre Bachalia. Do you guys know who these people are? Their wide receiver room is less than ours. So why would they not stick and pick and take Marvin Harrison Jr. when they're kind of in like the same position as we are? They have a franchise quarterback, and their wide receiver room, after trading one of their wide receivers, is now looking very, very bad. And I'm not saying that the Cardinals are not going to trade down, but I am saying it's not a sure thing. The Vikings, they could try their absolute hardest to get the Patriots pick and that not work out. And then they could try their hardest to get the Cardinals pick, and maybe that doesn't work out, and the Cardinals just take Marvin Harrison Jr. But then that 5th pick is the pick that I think the Vikings would really try to get, and I think they would be able to, because Joe Hortiz, with the offer of the 11th and the 23rd overall pick, I think he would absolutely take that. And then you would be in a great spot to take some really good offensive line talent, some cornerback talent. You could even take Brock Bowers and offensive line. You could do so many things. There are so many possibilities if you have the 11th and 23rd overall pick. And I think the value for that is much higher than the 5th pick, at least for us, for our position. But the Cardinals, they could absolutely take that trade. And let's just say they do, because the Cardinals, they have been known to move up and down in the draft. Just look at last year. They made a bunch of trades. So it's not like they aren't open to the phone, because they absolutely are. And let's just say that Vikings, they do trade up to that 4th overall spot. That means that QBs would go 1, 2, 3, and 4 because the Vikings traded up, and that would leave the Chargers in the scenario of having their option of whoever they want, and they would certainly take Marvin Harrison Jr. There is an argument to still take Malik Nabers. I know a lot of Chargers fans have fallen in love with him, and they say it's Malik over everybody. But I think if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, you don't question it and you take that pick. You don't listen to any trade offers on the phone. And it would be amazing to go from a wide receiver like Keenan Allen straight into a wide receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think, in my opinion, honestly, this might be the best case scenario, is for the Vikings to actually finalize that trade with the Cardinals. And maybe the second best case scenario, because I'm still trying to find out which I think would be the absolute best for the Chargers. But the other case scenario where I would be extremely happy is the Vikings trading with the Chargers and getting the 5th overall pick, and we take 11 and 23. And there's even a report that we might even get more than that. We might get an extra 1st rounder or like an extra 3rd. I would be ecstatic even just with 11 and 23. I mean, what would you guys be happier with? Would you be happier with trading down with the Vikings and taking those 2 first-round picks? Or would you be happier with just staying there and having the Vikings trade with Cardinals so we can have Marvin Harrison Jr.? I'm really interested to know what you guys think, because I think there's a genuine argument for both sides here. That's why I'm still wrestling with Which do I want the most? I think the Chargers we're in a great spot right now for the draft. And also, I am still giving away this PS5 Spider-Man 2 edition. All you have to do is use my sign-up link in the description to create your Underdog account using my promo code McLane, that is MACLANE, and deposit at least $10. You can deposit up to $100 and get all of that matched back. You don't need to make any plays, though. You don't need to spend any money, but you do need to deposit at least $10 in order for me to see you and enter you into the PS5 giveaway. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have not been able to sleep since this Keenan Allen trade, if I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of you guys have been like locked in just like me, but if you want to see my video yesterday, I talked a lot about, I don't even remember what I did. My brain is so fried, bro.